Hello from Uganda. Thank you for joining me in this new week to explore a few thoughts from the Bible together. It's wonderful to have you here. A few days ago, I found myself starting to think about dreams. I don't know where it came from exactly. Maybe I was sort of imagining what it would feel like if I had a really successful novel professionally published, but whatever it was, I was musing on this idea of dreams and visions and the big ideas that God gives us. The Bible tells us in Proverbs chapter 29 and verse 18 that where there is no vision, the people perish. It is good for us to have big dreams, and big dreams, big visions, things that seem utterly beyond what we can achieve. That seems to be the way that God works, right? This is the God who told Abraham that his descendants would number more than the grains of sand, more than the stars that he could see in the sky, before he had a single child, with a wife who was elderly and barren, no less. This is the God who told his ragtag band of followers to go and make disciples of all nations, every nation. I very much doubt that any of them had left their own nation before, certainly not their own region. These were fishermen. These were people who lived and worked locally. They weren't world travelers. And yet Jesus was telling them to go and make disciples of every single nation in the entire world. Those are big dreams. They are dreams beyond what those people could ever achieve on their own, in their own strength. You know, I've been reading through the book of Exodus recently, and even there we find a similar situation. The Egyptians are backing the Israelites up against the Red Sea. They are armed to the teeth, and there seems to be no escape whatsoever for God's chosen people. But in that situation, God, he gives a word. He paints a picture that seems utterly impossible. And we read about it in Exodus chapter 14, verses 13 and 14. Moses answered the people, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. The Egyptians you see today, you will never see again. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." This great army that is threatening you right now, from one of the strongest nations on the planet at this point of time, you are never ever going to see them again. Wow, I have a feeling the Israelites were basically only hoping for survival at this point. But God was promising them overwhelming victory. I wonder how often we put limits on what our lives can achieve because we're only thinking about what it's possible for us to do on our own, in our own limited strength. But the Israelites, they did see the Egyptians completely wiped out. And Abraham's descendants, they did grow beyond the ability to count. And that ragtag group of Jesus' followers, fishermen and tax collectors, they did spread the message of our great Savior beyond their borders. It is still spreading today. I wonder if that little group of people imagined, if they could possibly have conceived of millions and millions of people throughout history who made decisions to follow after God. Can you imagine? I bet they couldn't. But it all started because they were willing to step out and do what seemed to be impossible. And they didn't even see the full outcome of that dream, of that vision, but they started off anyway. Abraham didn't see his countless descendants, but he was willing to believe and to take that first step, Sometimes we may not see the outcome of the dream that God has put on our heart, but it doesn't mean that we can't work toward it. It doesn't mean that we can't imagine it. It doesn't mean that we can't be excited about what the future may hold. If God has given you a dream for your life, then I want to encourage you to follow after it, to chase it down with everything that is within you, and to be excited about it. Because when you reach the end of yourself, when you get to the point where you're looking at this dream that God has given you and it seems utterly impossible, and that there is no way that you can achieve it on your own, that is the moment when God will have to step in. That's the moment when you may need to simply be still and watch the Lord fight for you. This life with God is a great adventure. It's exciting every single day of it. And in every day of our lives, we can live with dreams and with vision in mind. If you feel like your life doesn't have a focus, if you're perishing for lack of vision in your life, then ask God. Ask him for a fresh revelation. Ask him for a new dream for your life. You know, you may feel like everything is kind of on pause at the moment with this pandemic that's happening in our world, but there is nothing that can stop God, and there is nothing that can stop you from dreaming. It might be a dream for the future. It might be something that you can do right now. It might be something that you can achieve if you only have the courage to get started. It might be something that seems utterly impossible. Either way, trust in God to give you the strength and the wisdom that you need to achieve what he is calling you to do. And always remember, what is impossible with man is possible with God. Thank you so much for joining me here today for these thoughts from the Bible. I will have new videos. I have new videos up every Monday and every Friday, so I will see you on Friday for some more. See you then.